Hello, my quilting friends. My name is Leah Day, and welcome to episode 144 of the podcast. And this is something I do every year. I share a word of the year, my goals and dreams, my focus, whatever you want to call it. And this is something I've done for several years in a row, and it's always kind of fun. So in this episode, that's what I'm going to share. I am hoping, crossing my fingers, that 2022 is just a little bit more stable, reliable, less chaotic. We can use synonyms over and over and over again, but basically I kind of feel like I've lost 2 years, and I've actually had to write 2022 several times to get my brain around the fact that it's 2022, and I think my brain is still stuck in the beginning of 2020. Yeah, it's been kind of chaotic. 2020, February 6th, our house flooded, and we had to completely gut this basement, and everything you see behind me is new and different because all of it was changed. And only now am I starting to finally feel like all of that is done and I've got kind of closure to it. It was very disruptive in more ways than I knew at the time even. And then, of course, the pandemic, which made everything so much easier. Not really. Renovating in the middle of the early days of the pandemic was insane. And then, of course, my son got diabetes. He's doing great, by the way, so that is awesome. He is doing really, really well. And then this time last year, right before Christmas, I found out I was pregnant. I, spent pretty much all of 2021 being very, very pregnant, and then had Betty in August. Could not be happier with how our family has grown. She is such a fun, new, chaotic element in our lives. And we're absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving it. Every once in a while, someone will ask me, what is it like having 2 kids so far apart? And, or what is it like to having a kid at 37, 38 years old? And I say I have absolutely no regrets. I absolutely love it. I don't know. I just have a different appreciation for motherhood at this stage. I have a different, everything feels very different from having James in my 20s. Not saying that was a bad choice either. Just, it's different. And it's different good, Not everything is different good, but most of it, I would say, is absolutely wonderful. And I will have Betty in here probably at some point in this podcast. I'm going to change my shots around, do a couple different things. But what I wanted to show you first was the Christmas tree quilt. So this is a quilt that I pieced 2 years ago. And then, of course, with everything going kind of crazy, I just folded it up and put it away and said, I will finish you one day. Well, that day came this November. I said, I really want to get that finished. But, I have limitations on my time, pretty serious limitations on my time. So the goal was to put it on my long arm and be able to get it back off again before Christmas. So I had to be really careful about my design choice, really careful about, what I put in this quilt. So that way I could finish it quickly. And I am absolutely delighted by how it's come out. I can't show the whole thing, but you can kind of get the idea of just how big it is. And down here at the bottom, I'll grab the bottom here, I have all these glittery Christmas tree presents. And that is all with glitter fabric. Some of these are definitely not really quilting fabrics, vinyls and weird stuff that I found at Hobby Lobby. And I have no idea how that's going to work out long term, but I absolutely love it right this second. And if something does happen to it and it cracks or breaks or does something funky, I can always applique something else on top. No big deal. That's the wonderful thing about quilts, is that they are multi-layered and we can always add something else later on. So what I ended up doing was nice big feathers in the tree, and that took up lots of space and was fairly fast to quilt. I did that with the feather ruler, the 2-inch feather ruler, and I would say of anything in this quilt, that was the most time consuming because I had to be kind of so meticulous and be thinking about what I was doing and if my long arm did something weird, if I let go of it or I didn't have it right up against the ruler, then I did have to do a little bit of ripping. I was a little picky with that. But overall, it went very quick, and it was nice to have something that filled in that area that I didn't have to think about it or worry about it. I made all of the decisions about the quilting designs before I started quilting. That's another way that I kind of saved some time on it. I did sharp stippling in the background, a simple free-flowing design, has no travel stitching in it. That saves some time. Travel stitching, anytime you stitch over a previous line of stitching, that makes you slow down. So I did that, and no travel stitching, just kind of zipping around. And then I did QCT designs, my maximized feather blocks, to create all of these big designs over these stars in the background, and that filled up the background and reduced how much sharp stippling I had to do. And that was so nice to relinquish some control, let QCT do some of the quilting, and I knocked out all of that space, and it was just, I just absolutely love that. I love how big they are, how much space they take up, and I think I might go in, not this year, but maybe next year, with my hot fix crystals and kind of put in some hot fix crystals. I think that would be super cute. I did learn a lot while quilting this. I have an update on some of my techniques that will be coming out in a video in the future, in 2022. Because as I'm learning, as I'm quilting more quilts on my long arm, it is making me go back to the drawing board and be honest and say, I'm not sure that technique is going to continue to work the right way. So that is going to be coming, and it's hard. As a professional quilter, as someone who has put out information and taught for as many years as I had, this has given me a little bit of, oh my gosh, everybody's going to think I'm wrong, or everybody's going to think, I've got bad information and that kind of stuff. And instead, I kind of stepped back and said, no, this is honest. So you'll be looking forward to that video. I'm sure I've got you really curious as to what technique I'm going to be changing up in 2022 as far as the way that I construct my quilts. So the reason why I'm talking so much about the Christmas tree quilt is because I shared 4 videos on it in December. Yeah, 4 videos on it. So if you are at all curious about how any of those designs work, so the feathers in the tree, the QCT designs, I did a ruler video on ruler quilting the presents. That turned out really good. It was also, it could easily be applied to any thick fabrics, because I was really stitching over some very dense, intensely thick fabrics. And then the sharp stippling design in the background. So if you have any interest at all in learning how I quilted this quilt, definitely check out those videos. It wasn't really a quilt along. I'm not going to produce this as a pattern. It's a very complicated quilt to piece. I may come out with it as a panel instead. And that is one of my goals in 2022, is to offer more quilt panels. The idea being, if you want to get in, especially on your long arm, and begin quilting quickly and begin building that skill, a panel makes the most sense. Then you don't feel that hesitation, that fear of messing something up that you've taken a lot of time to piece. It's specifically designed for practice to teach you something specific. So all of those things I think are really, really good, and part of the reason why I want to work on panels. But let's talk about my word of the year and where I kind of want to focus and what my goal is. It's kind of, I will admit, it's kind of a weird feeling to finally be in a position where I can say, this is what I want to do, like the Christmas tree quilt. It was really an experiment of saying, this is what I want to do. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I have enough time. I don't know if I have enough focus, being a new mom again. But let's just see if I can do this, if I can shoot videos, if I can get it done. And I did. So that was my kind of first step to becoming more reliable in 2022. But my word of the year, actually, I think I'll wait to share my word of the year till the very end. I think that's going to be better. So my goal, though, one of my goals is to make more quilts like this Christmas tree quilt that I want to hang on my wall, to decorate my home, to use every day. I want to make more things for me and my family that mean a lot to us. that bring us joy on a day-to-day basis. And one of my favorite traditional quilt patterns is a grandmother's flower garden. And you might remember this from a previous podcast episode. Last summer, I was pressing this grandmother's flower garden, getting it nice and, well, more or less flat. I was really kind of perusing it and seeing the state that it was in and kind of getting an idea of what I was going to do with it. But this I had to kind of cut it down to be the right size. This is going to be a tablecloth quilt for my dining room table. So my goal with it is to design a QCT design that will fit the hexagons, and then to do either freehand quilting or to design more QCT designs to fit the background triangles around them. And this was a quilt that I purchased on eBay. So this is not even something I pieced myself, but I absolutely love it. It's very special to me. I don't know why, but grandmother's flower gardens, well, when I was a kid, I kept going back to hexagons. I kept trying to cut them out, and I was cutting them out with scissors and a cardboard template, and I would cut maybe 50 of them at a time, and then I would say, I can't do this. It was just too hard on my hands. And then I'd give up and, put it away or throw it away, and then, then I'd be back at it a year later. I really want to make a hexagon quilt. So that is definitely on the books. I want to see this beautiful, cheerful quilt on my table for the spring. So that is definitely one of those things that I want to get done. I also want to continue sharing design videos, and my goal this year is to share 2 new design videos every month. So be looking forward to that. And I'm not sure, sometimes I think I'm going to quilt that just into plain fabric, just because that's an easy way to demonstrate. Sometimes I might be able to use a quilt, something I have previously pieced for free quilt patterns, for Quilty Box, any of those things. I don't know. I'm going to kind of feel my way forward with that and figure out what works best, what's the fastest, and kind of works best for, the flow of getting things shot and done. It's a daily, weekly challenge to figure out how much time that I have to film, to get things done with Betty, and then not feeling like I'm not taking care of Betty the right way. And that's the thing, I buck stops with her. I don't want to feel like, I'm leaving or abandoning her in order to film a video on a quilting design, because that's not that important. Being a good mom is the most important thing to me right now. And yeah, I don't think I need to explain that any further. That's really, I think that's pretty understandable, actually. And so moving forward, I'm minimizing as far as how many quilts I think I'll get done in a year. Like I think I really only got this Christmas tree quilt done this year. And if I only get my grandmother's flower garden done this year, that's okay. I'm all right with that, simply because it is the thing that I want to have finished, right? Another thing I'm focusing on is my spaces. Things have kind of shaken up and moved around quite a lot with Betty now having her bedroom, which used to be a space where I just kind of stashed a lot of craft stuff in the closet, and that room has changed identities so many times since we lived in this house. It's kind of a guest bedroom, and then it was kind of an office, and it was a studio. It's just been so many different things, but now it is her room. So I am slowly moving things out and having to figure out where it's going to go. Down here, some of the stuff is getting thrown away. I'm continually purging. You guys know that about me. But I'm thinking about my little spaces and trying to figure out, okay, what do I want to do more of in 2022? And I really want to design more. I am a designer, and I love creating motifs. I love creating these feather blocks for QCT. I really want to spend more time thinking about design, and I seem to have some sort of a block between sketching, getting it on the computer, and then getting it into the computer program for digitizing. Like, sketching is super easy, but it seems to stall out. I'll be completely honest. Like, I can't seem to go from sketch to computer to done quickly, or to have a good flow with that, like to have that where I could sketch something and then have it done as a QCT design in one day. That just doesn't happen. So I need to figure that out. That is a goal for 2022, is to figure out how to go from sketch to design quickly. everything I've ever done, it just takes forever, and I need to fix that. It does not have to happen. And part of that is having a dedicated space to design. So we have a little Harry Potter closet. It is the closet under the stairs, very small. But I took that over after the house was renovated because Josh had more space. It used to be a closet for all of Josh's fish stuff. And so I went in there and cleaned it out, put carpet in the bottom. It's a lot nicer now. And I'm going to put a little table in there, like a little kid's school desk, I think. And it's going to be my space to draw and design. And I put polystyrene on the walls so I can tack up designs and stuff. And the main reason is when I design at the kitchen table, which I really like, I end up having to, straighten it all up for dinner or whatever. And then everything kind of gets lost in the shuffle. And it's not anywhere near close to my computer either. So I think by having it in the Harry Potter closet, I can draw, then go scan it into the computer, and then get it into the computer, and it's all basically in the same space. It's all basically down here in the basement. So I think that that's going to work. Fingers crossed. It's at least the first step to having a better workflow for design. So yeah, that's just kind of my quilting focus and my design focus, moving forward with the best intentions, I think. That is definitely my goal for 2022. Now, another space that I am needing to work on is the crafty cottage. I haven't really been working out there very much over the last 2 years. The renovation kept me in the house and in the basement for a long time. And then, once Dad found another job and stopped working for us, I just really didn't need the crafty cottage as much because I could film in the basement and kind of created a better workflow with Josh, and that worked out really, really well. So I've been thinking about how I want to use that space and probably going to redesign it, meaning I'm going to take the tabletop, the home sewing machine table all out. I have some drawers and stuff and some other random things in there. I had a treadle in there for a while too, which I have since moved that into the basement in the house. And I'm going to get a new Janome treadle head. That is the machine. And Janome does have a new machine that can go in that. That's the Janome 712T. So I'm hoping that these will get back in stock. They've been out of stock for so long that I haven't really had a priority to make videos on it or to do anything with it, but I'm hoping that we'll get more in this year. And I will share some videos on that new old treadle. It's a new machine and an old treadle base, right? And so, I want to redesign the crafty cottage interior as far as what's in there. And I'm thinking it's going to be the hoop frame with QCT, and for a while, maybe a home sewing machine, and then maybe a Qnique 19. That should be pretty exciting. I absolutely love the bigger long arms because, I shared this in a video this fall. The bigger the long arm, the more space you can quilt vertically by the length of your frame. And the more space that you've got, then the bigger the block you can stitch. And, Qnique 15 was a great machine to start with. I absolutely enjoyed quilting on that machine. And, just learning the basics of frame quilting was excellent for that. But if I'm going for speed, like getting that Christmas tree quilt done by Christmas, I could not probably have done that on a smaller machine. I needed that big Qnique 21, right? So, I'm looking forward to that and getting the crafty cottage set up better. And then I'm also going to be working in my red barn where I have a laser cutter. This is kind of a new thing, and yes, a laser cutter can be used for quilting. I can laser cut fabric. I don't know if you've ever seen any of the laser cut fabric kits, but that is becoming a popular thing. I am going to begin producing the little leather cups or little quilting caddies. I'm going to start producing those again, and I'm going to probably redesign them a little bit. It's one of those things, again, wanting to design more and getting into that in a way that I can produce those and keep them in stock. And I know that that's been kind of a frustration for a lot of people is sometimes I'll come out with something and then it's just too hard to keep it in stock right now. So that's my goal, be a little bit more consistent, right? The laser cutter, just like QCT, I need to go from concept to computer to machine and get that flow a little bit better. Now, as for a project I'm working on, this is like a big, giant, massive daisy. And I bought this for Betty. It's supposed to go in the sink to kind of give her a little pad to support her when she's in the sink when I'm giving her a bath. And it worked. It definitely supported her well, and she seemed to like it, and it worked when she was really, really, really little. But getting it dry, it's like foam. It's minky. It's pink minky with foam, and then it has like some vinyl fabric, polyester fabric on the back, and it's real squishy. Getting it dry was ridiculous. It just would not dry for days and days, and it was starting to smell. And so then I started putting it in the dryer because it said that it could go in the dryer. Probably a bigger dryer would have worked. I have a kind of a tiny stackable dryer upstairs, and it ended up frying like a couple of the tips of the flower petal. And so what I decided to do was I stuck a grommet in it, so I have a hole in it now, so I'm going to hang it on Betty's wall as a decoration. But I ended up with some singe marks in the minky, so I am appliquing. I'm going to do some stitching here of some pink flannel and cover up those singe marks. But I figured this would be kind of a cute little thing. You know, when Betty's a little bit older, she can pull it down, and when she wants to cuddle with her daisy, you know, I remember James doing stuff like that where he had a big stuffed animal dog that he would sleep on in the office. It was really, really cute. So yeah, I just need to get this stitched on and applique in place, and then her daisy can go on her wall. And that's another little project that I want to do this year, is to get a quilt or two. And like I said, I'm really thinking landscapes, some trees, that kind of thing. And I'm thinking to make Betty a nice, beautiful quilted landscape for her wall. You know, something sweet that, you know, it just is very relaxing and calming. I like that idea. So going back to the laser cutter, staying focused, trying my best, right? Going back to the laser cutter, I am going to be producing our Dresden plate templates again. I know they have been out of stock for so long. I am so sorry about that, but I have actually gone back to the drawing board on these and redesigned them. And I have redesigned them so that they can do more cool stuff. So just a little bit of backstory. 2017 quilt along, I think. Maybe 2018. I think it was the 2017. Doesn't matter. Anyway, the Flower Festival quilt along, I incorporated Dresden plates into the quilt along, and we did 6 Dresden plates in addition to pieced flower blocks. And, you know, part of that whole thing, I decided I wanted to design my own Dresden plate template set. So I came out with a set of templates that were super cool, and they could do dozens of Dresdens. Now, the way I've redesigned it, I'm pretty sure you could do hundreds of Dresdens, but we'll still call it dozens because I haven't proven that yet. But I am probably going to, actually I am planning this, I have it all planned out. I'm going to share one Dresden plate tutorial per month in 2022 using our Dresden plate template set, and it has been redesigned so it can do Dresden rings. So rings are whenever the inside of the Dresden plate is cut out and finished just exactly the same way as the outside. So you can do these really cool rings. This is a mini in combination with a big outer ring. So a mini ring and a big outer ring. And then here is a cute curved petal Dresden with the inside, all those inside petals finished, so it creates a star. Isn't that pretty? And then you can also make really cute little minis. I think this one is maybe I think that's 6 inches in diameter, so pretty small. And you can really get creative with how these come together. And it's just a matter of cutting out your pieces and finishing both sides of the petal, how you cut, the size and shape of the strip you start with, all that good stuff. And I realized when I started playing with the new set, the way I've designed it, I really need to play with this even more. I really want to see what all it can do. I don't actually know the limits of what these templates can do. So I'm really looking forward to that, digging into it, having some fun in 2022, making some Dresden plates. And then I've also decided to change up the fabrics that I'm using. I have loved 1930s reproductions for a very long time. I have collected these for years, and then I've just never used them. So yeah, another big goal is to pull these out, get them starched and pressed, get them ready to go, and make some plates. So that way they can be used and enjoyed. And I'm gonna put these together and make another tablecloth quilt with these as well. So yeah, it's, moving forward, you gotta have to think about your quilting, at least this is what I'm doing, thinking about my quilting craft in terms of what I love the most, or what I've been saving, like what I've been collecting for so long with hopes of doing something with it, and actually doing something with it. It's so easy to keep collecting and collecting and collecting and hoarding a little bit, we'll say. And when it comes down to it though, this is meant to be used and enjoyed, and I will love having these Dresden plates on my kitchen table. So I am looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to cutting these template sets. It is going to be a set of 6 templates, so it's a little smaller than what it was before. That makes it a little faster to cut, so we shouldn't run out of stock, crossing my fingers, shouldn't run out of stock of them once we share them and have them online. And so I'm planning all of that to start coming out towards the end of January 2022. So I hope that you are excited about that as much as I am. So that is it for this podcast episode, and the big reveal on my word of the year is serenity. That is one of Betty's middle names, and I hope to bring peace of mind in everything I do this year. I have lots of different focuses, lots of different things I'm doing, but I'm moving forward with serenity. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode and hearing all of our plans for 2022. Until next time, let's go quilt!